दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् आर्तानामार्तिहन्तारं भीतानां भयनाशनं द्विजतां कालदण्डं तं रामचन्द्रं नमाम्यहम् रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताट्राकां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकिमुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति परां गतिं गोष्पदीकृतवारीशं मशकीकृतराक्षसं रामायण महामाला रत्नं वन्दे नीलात्मजम् अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम्. So we were in the forest Parva, the Vana Parva of Mahabharata, the third of the 18 Parvas. And we were with the Pandavas in the first day, first 2 days of their exile. They had moved out into the forest and we were with them. And we found last time couple of weeks ago, when we went with them, we found that half the population of Hastinapura had left with them. They didn't want to stay back. And they'd all gone away with the Pandavas, just as they were. I mean, they had no clue what they will do, but they didn't want to stay back with the Duryodhana and the gang. And they gave reasons for that, saying that how they can't stay in a place of evil where the rulership is very unethical. And they would like to stay with the good people who are the Pandavas. So that's how they had gone, and we found a reasonable amount. We explored that part as described by Vyasa. So some Subhashitanis, just to start it off. We will do one or two and then we will get into the subject. So the Subhashitanis are old, wise sayings of Sanskrit, little pithy verses of Sanskrit, which have deep meaning. And any of us who have studied Sanskrit in school may have forgotten many things, but one or two Subhashitanis we will remember, because they're usually simple to say and easy to remember. One of them is this: Chandanam Sheetalam Loke Chandanadapi Chandramaha Chandra Chandanayor Madhye Sheetala Sadhu Sangati. Says Chandanam Sheetalam Loke. In this world, sandal, Chandanam is cool. Also, even cooler than the sandalwood Chandanam is Chandrama, the moon. But even if we take these two, more than these two, even more cooling is Sadhu Sangati, the company of good people. Sansara Vishavrikshasya Vefale Hyamrutopame Subhashitam cha Suswadam Sangati Sujane Jane. Sansara Vishavrikshasya Vefale Amrutopame. The poison tree of samsara, the world, in that tree, which is full of fruits, poisonous fruits. There are two fruits in that tree which are exactly the opposite. They are amritam. They give immortality and deathlessness, whatever. What are these two? One is this delicious fruit called subhashitam, meaning well-spoken words, good words, sweetly spoken. They are like amritam. And the second thing is sadhu sangat, sangati sujane jane, the company of good people. These are the two amrita fruits in the tree of the world tree of poison. So they these people of Hastinapura had chosen to come or to partake of these two fruits in the form of the Pandavas who had been exiled to the forest rather than stay back in that beautiful tree which is actually poison. So they had said finally that, "O Pandavas, all the greatest virtues and all the greatest qualities as outlined in the Vedas find their residence in you, O Pandava." So keeping our own good in mind, we prefer to be where you are. And Yudhishthira had replied very humbly that we are blessed that you speak thus. But you speak thus because of your love for us and for your goodness, your compassion. Otherwise, such qualities as which you say are in us, actually, they are not, no, we cannot be credited with these such good qualities. But it is your love which makes you say that. Now, I have a request to make of you. Please listen to my request. In Hastinapura, which we have left behind, there lives our grandfather, Bhishma. There is the old king, Dhritarashtra. There is the wise and the great Vidura. That is my mother, Kunti. And there are other elders in Hastinapura, and they need you to be with them. You have come far with me, and I am very grateful. But now I request you to return. Please, that will make me happy. That will be the service that you render to us in this day of crisis for us. And there was a loud, Vaishampayana was telling the story to Janamedaya, and he said, there was a loud Mahanadam among the people who had come, saying, "Ha Rajan, yes, O king, if that is what you wish, we shall do that." And so they had left. And the Pandavas had left that day for a forest nearby called Pramanakoti. Pramanakoti. By evening, they found a lake and they settled down by its banks for the night. It's a dreadful forest. And that there's a lake. And the forest settles down for the night. Things happen. Forest comes alive in the night. It's not a picnic. So while most of the people had left and gone back to Hastinapura on the request of Yudhishthira, there were still many Vedavits who were staying back. They didn't want to go. They were staying with the Pandavas, and they all sat down when they camped near the lake. They all sat down and lit homakundams, their Agnihotram, homakundams, etc., and started chanting the Vedic mantras. And that brought new life into that desolate forest and the desolate life of Pandavas that night. It was driving away the gloom from their minds, the smell of Agnihotras, fire and smoke, the sights, the glowing, the shining visages of the rishis themselves, the Vedavits who are there, and all that was the whole ambience of that, the chanting of the mantras, the silence of the night, and the background chirps of the forest, the moon, all that was beautiful setting, and it was consoling to the Pandavas. And after the rituals were over, whatever little they could eat of fruits and fruits, they must have eaten. And then they told Pandavas, some of them told Pandavas stories into the night. These Vedavits were used to, what is their life? Their life is to eat. They need two things. One is food, and they need items for their daily worship, which includes milk and ghee and firewood and things like that which they need. And they need food to eat. These are two things, and this by dharma they get it by bhiksha. They either beg for it or the king provides for it to them. They do their dharma for the welfare of the world, but they don't earn a salary per se, or they don't sell their thing. They get that by bhiksha or by uh, the by the gift of that by the kings or whatever. Now, so these Vedavids were there, and of course there was Dhaumya, the Purohita, the great, I mean, is a sage who was always with the Pandavas during this exile, and there were some other rishis also, and there were been so many Vedavids. They were all sitting there, and as the night progressed and the morning dawned, Yudhishthira had a new worry, and his worry was that how am I going to provide for these people who are with me? These Vedavids and rishis, they need bhiksha, they need food, they need this, they need that. Now, how am I going to do that? How am I going to be able to do that? And then again, how am I going to be able to protect them from the perils of the forest? The snakes, the scorpions, the wild animals, the diseases, the insects, all of that. So how do I do that? He was worried, and then he kind of sat amongst them, and he explained that this is my anxiety, O Brahmanas. I'm not in a position to provide for you in the manner in which I should. If you're going to stay with me, stay with us in the forest, and we're going to go deeper. We are going to go in many places. How am I going to provide for you? I mean, I will not be able to provide for you. Personally, I cannot. And my brothers also, I cannot tax. My brothers also, they are already suffering physically and mentally this day of our life. I'm not in a position to ask them to be able to take this responsibility as well. So I'm really at a loss. What am I going to do? How am I going to provide for you? But they told Yudhishthira, please do not worry about that. We will take care of ourselves. And for the difficulties that you have because of our stay with you, just our stay itself will cause some difficulties for you in your mind. We will try to regale you by telling you stories. Looks like a fair deal. That's what they said. But Yudhishthira was very saddened, and he said, But that is a blot in my name. That is a blot in my name that I am not able to provide you with bhiksha. Shame to Duryodhana, dik to Duryodhana, what a state he has pushed me into. And saying that, he just doubled over head in hand. Yudhishthira, the crown, the king of Indraprastha's head was down, head in hands. He doubled over, seized with depression, self-pity, sorrow, pain, whatever you want to call it. At that time, from among the rishis and Vedavids there was one rishi called Shonaka. He often comes in the Puranas. Shonaka. Shonaka, Vyasa says, was an Adhyatma Rata. Adhyatma Rata means actually deep love. Rati, Rata. Deep love for the self. That means his Atmarati is supposed to be one of the highest state. Absolute abidance in the self. Ever devoted to the Atman. At the same time, he was a great Shastragya. He was a Shrotriya Brahmanishta. A man who knew who has complete knowledge of the Shastra, the Veda. At the same time, he was a Brahmanishta, meaning a person who has realized the supreme truth and abides as that. Right? All right. So he was proficient, says Vyasa, both in the ways of Karma Marga and Jnana Marga, both, Sankhya, both. So he was there and he saw Yudhishthira doubling over in pain and gloom. So he told him he shared an ancient piece of wisdom with him. He told him, Shokasthana sahasrani, bhayasthana shatani cha, divase divase mudham, avishanti na panditam. Shokasthana sahasrani, bhayasthana shatani cha. Situations and occasions for sadness and pain and sorrow and depression. Thousands of them a man encounters in his life on a day-to-day basis. He encounters something which makes him sad, pain, depressed, distressed, whatever. And bhayasthana shatanija. And ever so many hundreds of situations where he's afraid. Fear comes, fear. Divase, every single day. This is what does one say? This is the salary one gets for logging on to life. Divase, mudham avishanti. Mudham, the ignorant ones, the fools, they get affected by this. They are overcome by this. A situation of pain or a situation of fear comes and they are down. They are down. Napanditam. Not the wise people. The wise people don't get undone by these things, says Shonaka to Yudhishthira. Actually, this piece of wisdom is a part of a larger piece of set of verses, three more like this set of verses, which is known as the Bharata Savitri. Bharata Savitri is like the Gayatri mantra of Bharata, Mahabharata. And actually at the end of Mahabharata it comes, when the complete race of Kauravas, all the Kshatriyas of the world, nearly all, almost all, have been decimated. The earth, the burden of the earth has been lightened. So many people have died. The carnage is over. Everything is over. Krishna has left the earth. The Pandavas have left the earth. Around that time, Vyasa, who is what? Who is everything of Mahabharata? Vyasa, who is the seer of Mahabharata? Vyasa, who is the narrator of Mahabharata? Vyasa, who is the progenitor of Mahabharata? It is he whose seed brought forth Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura. It is he who keeps coming every time in the middle of at various stages of Bharatam. He is not just the writer, he is a participator in the story in many, many ways. And he is the light. The light which which is projecting this entire drama of Bharatam in your minds. And he is also the screen on which it's being projected. He is that and all that and more. Vyasa. Vyasa, in the end, when he signs off from Bharatam almost around that time, he throws up his hands and he says, Shokasthana sahasrani, bhayasthana shatani cha, divase divase mudham, avishanti na pandidam, urdvabahum virom yesha, nacha kaschit shrunoti me, dharmadarthasya kamascha, kimetan. I don't remember all the words, but he says these very words that Shonaka has said to begin with, that fools get affected by these situations. And then he says, he says, my life's purpose almost. He says, I have been going around with my hands upraised, urdhvabahum, virom yasha. I've been going around screaming top of my lungs throughout my life. Nata kaschit shrunoti me, but nobody listens to me. Not a single person listens to me. And I am saying this, that do dharma. If you are doing dharma, then the artha and kama and that will follow automatically. There are four ends of a human being's life: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Actually, it's not necessarily the goals of life, they're called purusharthas. It's not exactly that these are the purusharthas like that. It is the joy that you get from these, that is the goal. So you get a joy from doing dharma. You get a joy from artha, which is material success. You get a joy from kama, which is the joys of the world, the senses, the mind, all that. Kama, desires being fulfilled, the joys. And the joy of liberation, what can we say? These joys will come if you do your dharma. I have been saying, but no one listens to me. He says. Sukha dukkhe to anitya, he says in that. Arre Baba, I am telling people happiness and sorrow are not permanent. You are permanent. Yourself is permanent. You have nothing to do with this joy and sorrow. Unless you are putting it upon yourself. You want to carry that burden upon yourself. But they are not true, real. Anything which is true and real has to be eternal. That is the fundamental foundation of philosophy. So, come back. That's a longer story. But that's Bharata Savitri, that Vyasa sings at the end of Bharatam. Now here, Shonaka is telling Yudhishthira one verse of that, saying, Shokasthana sahasrani bhayas. Man, it's only fools who get overcome by depression and fear. Not wise people, Yudhishthira. And you are the wisest among wise. Should you be like this? Huh? Right? So this is not, new. It's not that, it's not that it's today that we are having, every day you can't, put on the TV or read the newspaper without horror of every kind staring at your face, and you have to deal with it both where you are and where you are not, everywhere around the world. And everybody seems to be gunning only for you, right? And all the bad people have got a loud voice, and the good people are nowhere to be seen. Because news is about bad. Now, this is seen even, today, maybe it's even crazier, because the amplification of news is so fast and so omnipresent that nothing escapes anybody and everything is on your face all the time. But even so, these are raw emotions, and the raw emotions are timeless. This is what it is, that problems and fears have to be You have to stare them down. So wise people do not get deluded by these, says Shonaka. Right? They have to face it. They keep put as the other saying goes, keep your faith in God, but keep your gunpowder dry. Right? Now Rishi Shonaka says to Yudhishthira, saying, "O king, in ancient times, Mahatma Raja Janaka is the great king of Videha, the king who was a sage, the Raja Rishi. Mahatma Raja Janaka has said the following. He said something. He shared some pieces of wisdom. And I shall tell you what he said. He said, Vyadhir anishta sansparshat Shramadishta vivarjana dukkham chaturbhi shariram karanai sampravartate tada tat pradikaratya satatam cha vichintanat adivyadhi prashavanam kriya yogadvayena tu. He said, man face sharir dukkham for four reasons. Physical means not just physical. Physical means the pains that are associated with you as a physical being. Because of the fact that you are bearing a body. Sharira dukkham chaturbhi. Four types, four reasons. One, vyadhe, because of disease, illness, ailment. Vyadhe, man gets vyadhi, physical problem. Mental problem, all problems because of illness, pain. Anishta sansparshat, because of because of encountering anishtam, what you don't desire, an undesired and unwanted, a bad happening, a bad situation, bad occurrence in life, a sad occurrence in life. Like what Yudhishthira and the Pandavas are facing now. They are depressed because of that bad happening in life, anishta sansparsha. That has made Yudhishthira double over in depression. Physically, he has become weak. Mentally, he's lost it almost. So one is disease. Second is the encounter with the embracement of bad happenings, with undesirable happenings. Third, shramadi, shramat, by sheer physical stress, hard work, or whatever. Physically, if you have to exert yourself so much throughout the day, morning to night and day, for whatever reason, that also leads to physical problems and along with that the mental problems. What can you do? I mean, there is a karma for whatever reasons the person let us say, has to do that. Poverty. They are in the hot sun of Chennai to be working on the roads to break or the buildings to break those stones. Young women carrying it on their heads in the hot sun throughout the day for a pittance. What doesn't do? So sad. Hard work, shramat, ishta vivarjanat, because of the separation of dear people. A young soldier or an officer of the armed forces has to go to war. What happens to his young wife or his mother or father? Pain, fear. Child has gone to war, and God forbid he dies or comes back severely injured. The physical shock and physical stresses that the family undergoes is crazy. Ishta vivarjana, the separation of some something which is very close to you. These are the four reasons because of which bodily, physical, the pains of being a physical being, these are the ones that cause, says Shonaka to Yudhishthira. And he says that Tada Tattvatikaracha Satatam Cha Vichintanat Adivyadhi Prashavanam Kriya Yogadvayena tu. So Adivyadhi means mental. Adi, Vyadhi is physical illness, mental depression or pain or whatever, and physical pain and depression or that physical suffering. Both mental suffering, physical suffering. For this, to overcome these, Prasamanam, to silence these sufferings, he says there are two Kriya Yogas. I mean, Shonaka is not just telling the disease, he's telling you he's giving the medicine. These are the two things that you need to do if you are faced with this sharirika dukkham. In fact, the Vedanta, the philosophy of Vedanta, is called Sharirika Mimamsa. The inquiry into that which comes about because of physical beingness. Inquiry into that. Whatever it is. So coming back here, it says the two Kriya Yogas, so to say. One, Tatpratikaracha. Two, Satatam Javichintanat. First is, whatever it is that you're suffering, illness, let us say physical illness, whatever reasons you're suffering, you must do something to resist that, to counteract that. Take some aushadam, some medicine, whatever is needed. Firstly, take that as well to counteract that. Don't delay that. Take it. Do that. So if it is that you're suffering from overwork and stress, then you have to stop overwork. No? If you're suffering because of sleeplessness completely, you're not sleeping throughout the night, you're working, then you have to get some more sleep, a little bit more sleep. Somehow you must do something to counteract whatever you are having problems. Whether it's a medicine for an illness or whatever it is. These are the four reasons why it can come. If it's causing you so much pain to be separated from somebody, try to see if we can get that person back or what is to be done. And second thing, if you can't do anything, or even if you do it, there is still a time period till the suffering goes on, right? When there's no medicine which say you pop it and the suffering is over. Damn thing doesn't exist except for a headache and a saridon. So, what do? Just avichintanat. It says don't dwell on it mentally. Don't think about it all the time. Take the medication and then stop thinking about it. These two, he says, are two Kriya Yogas you need to do. So the mental suffering, you don't give it attention to it. Physical suffering, whatever it is, take whatever medicine is needed. Both these two you do. Then adhivyadhi prasamanam. Then mental suffering and illness and physical suffering can be silenced by this method. Says Shonaka to Yudhishthira. Now, in Chennai, for example, in Nanganallur, there is this massive Hanuman temple. Hanuman, 30 odd feet, standing there. Thousands and thousands of people visit the temple on a day-to-day basis. That Hanuman is called Adi Vyadi Hara Anjaneya, I think, something like that. He is the one who overcomes, who destroys the sufferings, both physical and mental, of the devotees who submit to him. That's the name. Just remember that. No, but coming back here. So, this is what Shonaka is advising Yudhishthira. I was in memory came of this biography of Swami Shivananda. I think just a couple of days ago was his 135th or something like that birth anniversary. One of the great sages of our time, so to say, 20th century. Rishikesh. Now it's such a sattvic. Oh, what a place. What an ashram, what great sannyasis. Swami Shivananda. So his biography, he was a doctor actually. He was a medical doctor by qualification. He had he had worked as a medical doctor in Malaysia. I mean, he was from South India, deep South, Tirunelveli district. Kuppusamy his name was. He had gone to Malaysia and then he was practicing there with the plantation workers and this and that, etc. from South India and others. Then he had got a great vairagya, had come back and gone off to the Himalayas. He became a sannyasi. Then he became a great sage. And a great ashram, a great lineage was founded by him for the Divine Life Society. Swami Shivananda, he was a great yogi, a great medicine. I mean, he set up clinics, medical facilities in Rishikesh for etc. He did all that as well. So he was a great doctor, a yogi, a great philosopher, a sage. And his biography says that Swami Shivananda, in his life, he never suffered from any illness. Then it points out that he had every kind of disease in his body. But he never allowed his mind to suffer from it. He didn't give it the attention and whatever it was, he detached his mind from thinking about it and focused on the sufferings of the others and tried to give them ways to overcome their pains. So the point one saying says that the suffering, whether it is Ramana Maharshi, what he did not have in his body in terms of problems. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, my God, he had throat cancer of such a kind that who could have put up with it? Blood coming out all the time. The whole point is this. I mean, the epics of India. I'm sorry, I'm just digressing a bit. But the point is that there are no superheroes of that kind in the sense of the gods being that. Here whether it's Bharatam or whether it is Ramayanam or whatever, a Rama will suffer. Meaning to say, we'll encounter situations of suffering. But he will face them. A Yudhishthira, a Draupadi, a Pandavas will suffer. They will encounter that. They will face them. A Krishna will have to run away from battle. He will do that as well, and he will face them. And Nala Damayanti will have to face that. So God becomes a man actually. So then there are difficult choices to make when they encounter these situations, and they have to make those choices and take responsibility for those choices and be blamed for those choices as well for all time to come. But they have to take that. The question is not whether the choice that they took was the right one. The question is that that's what happens to us as well. And we have to take choices, make choices and take responsibility for them. Coming back here. Here, Yudhishthira is head down and Shonaka is saying, man, stop giving yourself so much pain, right? So, Shonaka says, and so what happens? When a wise man, when he encounters a person like suffering like this, he first gives the mind healing, mental distress. First, the mental distress of the person has to be healed. That's why they said the doctor should have good bedside manners, they say. The doctor comes and says, "You're all right. You will be all right." It's a big deal. A friend of mine was diagnosed with a very difficult grade 4 or something like that of brain tumor. He was falling unconscious all over the place. You got the right doctor. Doctor said, "We'll cure you. You will be all right." Another classmate of mine is pretty severe lymph node cancer and all that. He's okay. He goes in and out of hospital, but he's like anybody else. He's active. He's doing well. I think in all, he's fighting it. He's come out. Now, the doctors, they first you cure the mind. And how do you cure the mind? Says Shonaka or whatever this at this point is explained that this is cure. The cure of that is done by Priya Vachanam, by speaking sweetly. Priya Vachanam, affectionate words to make them first speak to them affectionately and make them. He's talking about the mental problem, the pain, the mind's pain. First, speak to those people with Priya Vachanam. Second, make them enjoy harmless pleasures. If they like ice cream, give them ice cream. If they want to go and see a movie, let them see a movie. If you want to go to the mountain and see, just relax, take them to the mountains. If you want to see serials on TV non-stop, let them see. Let them feel. I mean, life situations are so devastating situations can come that first you speak sweetly, then you let them see how to encourage them to get back to the pleasures. Let them have those harmless pleasures, sambhogams, etc. Because Shonaka says, if the mind is injured, the body burns. The body burns. Just like the example he gives there in Bharatan, just like if you put a burning ingot of iron, steel, burning ingot of iron or what we call steel, into a pot of water, burning hot, you just put it into a pot of water, the water will just sizzle and boil. That's what happens to the body when mental pain takes it. The body sizzles and boils. So first the mental distress has to be cured. We said Priya Vachanam and then harmless pleasures. Manasam shamaye tasmat yane nagni vivambuta ivambuna. But ultimately all suffering can end only by jnana. Ultimately, at every stage actually is jnana. Jnana of a different level. But at every stage, knowledge. Ultimately, self-knowledge. Ignorance can be cured only by knowledge. And all suffering belongs to the lot of ignorance. Just like water puts out fire, he says, Agni Mivambuna. Likewise, knowledge puts out this manasam, mental problem, mental pains. And when the mind is at peace, the body also will recover health. But how to get jnanam? Question is, think clearly, discriminatingly, discerningly. Why is it? What is it? What is causing the mental anguish? Manaso dukkha moolam tu sneham mityupalabhyate. Shonaka says, if you look at it, if you think about it deeply, yudhishtra. At the root of mental pain, the moolam, the root of mental pain is sneham. Sneham is affection Sneham is desire. At the root of all mental pain, these are the two things. And sneha tu sajjate jantu dukkha yogam upayati cha. And because of this, a man develops attachment. Because of desires and because of affection, he starts developing attachment. And attachment then leads to sorrow. Attachment leads to mental anguish and sorrow. Deep attachment is asakti. Asakti. Deep attachment. Deep desire is the cause of sorrow. Deep attachment is the same thing as fear, says Shonaka. Every kind of pain results from this, O Yudhishthira. And desire for objects, seeking your happiness in objects, leads to utter disaster. Just as a small flame in a hollow of a tree destroys the tree, root and all, likewise, this little thing called worldly desire in a hollow tree will destroy you. Dharma and artha both will be destroyed. Now what does one do? If one has to renounce objects, one is you renounce something because it is no longer there. Right? That Shonaka says is no, that we're talking about. It's no tyaga. That is no renunciation. At the root of overcoming mental anguish, he comes to this, is leading to this, is renunciation. You have to give up something. You cannot keep everything and then still think that you can overcome. You have to give up. At the root of all that, some desires to be given up. Renunciation has to happen. So he says, renunciation of something which is no longer there is not a tyaga at all. Like, a stupid example is, if you say, for example, that in Delhi winter I will give up ice cream. What is the point? So cold, you're not going to have it in any case. Right? That's no tyaga. You must understand the defect in the object for you. That object may not be a defect for somebody else, but for you it is a defect. For a person suffering from diabetes, to have a lovely sweet or just eat a lot of sweet is not a good thing for him or her. There is a problem in that object for him or her. He should not take it, even if it is kept in front of him or her on the table in a wedding or whatever. So today I will take it. No. Even if it is in front of you, an object of desire, because of your knowledge that it is a defect, it is a dosham for you. You do not touch it, you do not take it. That's it. That's renunciation, says Shonaka. You have to do that. You have to be able to do that. To be able to, that when you get vairagya, Yudhishthira, then mental anguish can be overcome. Never have any attachment for desire, any desire, deep desire for wealth, power, etc., or for dear ones. Attachment arises because of the body. Overcome it by knowledge, by discernment, by jnana. For if you do not battle desire, you know what it becomes? It becomes trishna, Trishna, Trishna. Trishna actually means thirst. But in this context, it means a volcanic body-mind shaking infatuation. I want that. This was this. And when that happens, it's destruction. So, Vyasa says, Shravanaka says, Ya dustyaja durmatibihi, yana jiryati jiryata, Yosau pranantiko roga tam trishna tyajyatam sukham. Ya dustyaja durmati bihi. That which is impossible for ignorant people to renounce. They cannot renounce it. Yana jiryati jiryatah. That which does not dry up with age. With the drying up the body, this damn Krishna does not dry up. It does not become less. In Bhajagovindam, Adi Shankara has there's one verse. Angam galitam palitam mundam dashana vihinam asham kundam vruddho yati grihitva dandam tadapi namunchati asha pindam. Angam galitam. The man is become an old man, his body has become decayed. Angam galitam. Palitam mundam, his hair has become white. Khan become bald and white. Dasana vihinam, teeth have all fallen. Tooth has fallen. Like that, he is explaining. His tooth, everything is gone. Now, Vruddho, he is walking around with a walking stick, walker, whatever. Even then, Tadapina Munjati Asha Pindam. Even then, the bloody damn body has this baggage of desires, is not able to give up. Not able to give up. Yana Jirita, it doesn't go with the drying up of the body. Yosau Pranantiko Roga, that which is a disease that destroys life. That is called Trishna. And that Trishna has to be renounced if you want Sukha, says Shaunaka to Yudhishthira. Right? So, which is what the masters say, that this is a natural thing in a human being. You will desire. What can you do? You have to channel it elsewhere. So if you channel the Trishna from the world, but make it go towards Krishna, then Krishna Trishna redeems you. That is absolutely, it takes you across the ocean of transmigration. So therefore, few things he will summarize here. This is one, O Yudhishthira, give up sneham, give up kamam, give up Krishna. 2, control your mind. Don't think about what's the waste of energy of your mind. Mind must be controlled. 3, be careful about wealth. It will not bring you peace of mind. Right? He says a wealthy man, because of wealth, he's in this situation. Had Indraprastha not been the richest in the world, had he not been so successful materially, Duryodhana would not have given a damn. It is because Duryodhana saw this man was so prosperous that he said, I want to bring him back. He says a wealthy man, Shonaka says, is like a piece of meat. He's like a piece of meat. A piece of meat, if it is in the air, eagles will fight over it. If it is in the ground, animals will bite it. If it is in the water, fishes will attack it. There is no place a piece of meat can just exist without being attacked. A wealthy man is like that. A wealthy man is like that. Some people say, he says, that no, you want to earn wealth because they want to do dharma. Actually, it should be the other way. You do dharma, then maybe wealth comes. But you want to earn wealth because you want to do dharma. This is like first, he says, Shonaka says, it's first like saying you dabble in the gutter so that you can then wash the slime. Better you don't dabble in the gutter in the first place. Right. All right. So we'll kind of stop here. It's a bit of a preacher today. Huh? But it looks like a small lecture was needed for Yudhishthira for the great purpose ahead, and especially for this life ahead, immediate life ahead of 12 years plus 1 year for him. It's going to be very difficult. So Shonaka starts giving a 101 primer to him, and we will continue this 2 weeks from now and go into the story. Har Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadeva Janaki Kanta Smaranam Jai Jai Rama Rama Gopika Jivana Smaranam Govinda Govinda Vetrivel Muruganuku Hara Hara Shri Sadguru Swamina Jai Shri Anjaneya Swamina Jai. Thank you guys. See you.